The Melbourne International Comedy Festival is one of the big 3 comedy festivals in the world.
This is me getting my shirt off.
This year I think we've got 478 events.
I might roll my sleeves up for this shit. I get serious.
Which makes it massive.
Yes. Are you getting this? Are you getting this?
My name is Gideon James and I'm an Associate Director of the Melbourne Comedy Festival, and one of the projects I work on is the Comedy Zone, which I produce. Yeah. It goes for 4 weeks, which can feel like a long time, but it actually goes really fast. Full of laughs. People have a lot of fun going back year after year and seeing comedians that they like and that maybe they've followed since they had started out in something like Comedy Zone, and maybe next year they see them in their first hour. Yeah, it's a very alive and fun festival, and I think there's something for everyone in the festival from Melbourne. For the local comedians in Melbourne, it can mean a whole lot of things. It can open up an audience. It could be a show that gets them an agent or gets them a gig touring, or there's lots of opportunities out there.
Comedy Zone is basically like a showcase of newcomers that the Comedy Festival handpick from all around Australia, often through the Raw comedy competition.
The Comedy Zone is our key development program.
They will pick people who are fresh to the scene and put them together in one show.
Where we select the 5 best emerging comedians that we think are out there in Australia at the moment.
And then they do the show for the entire festival.
This is the sort of next level up.
And people come along, get to see what Australian comedy has to offer in the way of newcomers. Okay, my name's Heath McIver and I am directing / I guess mentoring the Comedy Zone folk in the loosest terms possible. I am a puppeteer. I have nothing to do with comedy. I don't normally do comedy. I've just done a lot of theatre, and I know some of the people at the Comedy Festival from doing theatre, and they said, Heath, do you want to do some directing? As far as the process goes, directing a show like this involves getting all of the comedy zoners, the zoners, we're calling them the zoners. It sounds like they're a breath mint, but they seem to be okay with it, into a room and getting them to do their material, just cold to each other. And then what we all do is we heckle and we sort of throw things and we take everyone apart psychologically, break everyone down, and then build them back up again slowly over a process of about 4 or 5 months. And then at the end of that, hopefully they've got 10 minutes of comedy, which they can do without bursting into tears. And it's working. I mean, because everybody comes in with their own material, everybody's got their 10 minutes, and I just have to put them in the right order and maybe get them to switch a few jokes around to make it work with the whole show. But it's about, it's more about just them having someone to come to and have a bit of a, I'm a conduit. I'm a comedy conduit in this context. But it's all pretty straightforward. They're all really talented, and it's not difficult to direct them, to be honest. They don't take direction particularly well. I don't think they like me, but it's not my job to be liked. I'm not here to be liked, I'm here to do a job, you know? And if that involves making a few enemies and pissing off a few of the talent, let's call them talent, I'm okay with that. It's just par for the course.
Welcome to the 2014 Comedy Zone. Put your hands together and welcome your MC all the way from Queensland, Geoff Windle.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to the Comedy Zone 2014. It's wonderful to have you all here. In case you don't know what this is, it's basically a showcase run by the festival. They go around, they find all the up-and-comers from about, or 5 of them from about the country. I'm included in that, so you have 4 other wonderful acts tonight.
As an MC, Geoffrey really ties the show together. He's got really sharp material. It's really smart and it's really well written, but it's got a few twists. So he's got a few cheeky tags that you don't see coming. And he's really charismatic on stage. He's a really nice guy. He's just watchable, and yeah, I like him. He's a good egg. He's a good egg.
My name's Geoffrey Windle. I come from Brisbane in Queensland. I remember watching the comedy gala on TV when I was fairly young, and I was always into jokes and stuff, joke books. But I watched the gala and I was amazed how funny everybody was. And then I remember watching it every year and taping it on VHS and replaying that over and over again. And so I think from that point, it was something I always wanted to do. Yeah, but actually considering doing it, I didn't know how people would do it. I didn't know there were open mics. I thought it was something you studied at uni or something like that. Literally, I thought that. But then I found out you could do open mics and stuff. And after a few years of seeing the banners around, I decided to finally get up when I was 20.
Sandeep. Okay, cool. Sandeep, is it a date? No. Okay. Holy shit. Okay. That's difficult crowd work. Difficult crowd work, Sandeep. No, look, it's unfair because if you think about it, if a guy likes a girl and she likes him back, that's great, isn't it? That's wonderful. But if a guy likes a girl and she doesn't like him back, then that guy, you, Sandeep, that guy is instantly a creep. Okay, there's no middle ground there. Doesn't even make sense. She'll be at a party a week later like, oh my God, you didn't invite Sandeep, did you? That guy's creepy. He finds me interesting and physically attractive. What a fucked up weirdo. Jason, on the other hand, the star soccer player, well, he crept over to my house the other night and drew a love heart on my window in his own semen. What a sweetheart, oh my God. That's so sweet. I can't believe you do that.
Geoffrey, good name too, Geoffrey. He looks funny. He's got a bit of beard and a bit of a hair, bit of a head. He's got a bit of a head and a bit of a shoulder, which helps, sort of all comes together in a kind of human form. He's doing all right, Geoffrey.
So my name's Suren Jayemanne and I'm from Victoria. Comedy's always been a passion, but I'm actually an accountant by trade. But that usually is the easiest way to kind of kill a conversation. So I've kind of started to do comedy a bit outside of work, and it's going well. I'm having fun.
He is an accountant, Suran, but he's funnier. I think if he's as good at accounting as he is at telling jokes, I don't know why he's getting into comedy, because he could be an amazing accountant if they were comparative.
I guess the only other important thing to note is that I'm born in Melbourne, grew up here, but kind of Sri Lankan heritage.
I am Sri Lankan, not Indian, should point that out. It's an easy mistake to make. In fact, I'm pretty sure a couple of years ago, some kids on the street made that mistake when they tried to knife me. I can only forgive them, right, because they just had a stab in the dark, that's all. I quite like that joke. I think it's clever, right? Because I think, you know, they're having a guess, it's nighttime, those are all the elements you need to have a stab in the dark. But then this guy comes up to me after a gig and he goes, hey, I really like that joke about how you got stabbed because you're dark. No, that's not the joke. Well, maybe it should be.
I'm in a pretty interesting kind of time where I've been raised as like a middle class, effectively like middle class white person, but I get all the perks of being a Sri Lankan as well. So it's I'm in this sweet spot at the moment where I'm kind of sitting in the best of both worlds, if you like. Yeah.
And he's old, a bit older than a couple of the others on the gang. Not that he's old, but there's a maturity to his comedy. He's actually one to watch, I reckon. Keep an eye out for him. He's really funny. And good stage presence, confident, good shoes, sensible trousers. I mean, you can't fault him.
I'm Becky Lucas and I'm representing Queensland.
She's a good egg, Becky. She's very funny. She's She's pretty unassuming to look at if you judge comedians in terms of first impression, book by cover sort of thing. You could be lulled into a false sense of security, I think, with Becky, because she looks quite sweet, but her comedy is, I heard someone describe it as like whiplash, because you're going, what? What? Did you say that?
I just feel like men are so conflicted, like when they get to the nightclub, like they're just like, there's like the penis is like the rookie cop, it just bursts into the nightclub, it's like, woo, pussy, pew, 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 pew. The brain is like the old wise cop, he's like, relax, rookie. We'll smoke the pussy out, all right? We're not... some wine, some flowers. The rookie's just jizzing everywhere, I don't know. That was crude, I'm sorry, that was crude.
No, I always liked comedy and thought about it a lot. And I met a friend who had his friend was a comedian in America, and it just had never occurred to me that you could do that as a job. And then I got back and thought I'd give it a crack.
It's very polished, it's very sharp, and also she has an element of theatricality to the way that she performs. She's very interesting to watch, and she's very funny. So yeah, she's cool. Aaron, I first saw perform at Class Clowns. He won the competition that I saw him at, and he was doing some stuff which was a little bit odd.
I am Aaron Chen, and I come from New South Wales.
His stuff was a little bit dark and a little bit sort of funny and a bit odd at the time.
Do you use shampoo? What's like the selling point of your shampoo? Yeah, like cool colours, vibrant. Yeah. The selling point of my shampoo was it was relaxing chamomile shampoo. So I was using it for the first time the other day, and it was going really well. But then a little bit got into my eye, and it stung a lot. But I was calm throughout the whole thing. I grew up in a suburb called Asquith in Sydney. Yeah, it's great. It's pretty fantastic.
What do I want to say about Aaron? He's a craftsman. He's a comedic craftsman. He's a bit of a dark horse. Some of his tags you don't see coming, and some of his setups he really commits to ideas. So he'll have a comic premise and commitment. He's good at commitment.
I first considered pursuing comedy when I was 15 years old. And I was like doing speeches at school, and they were going like better than they should have. So I did a competition called Class Clowns, and that's when I did comedy for the first time.
He doesn't apologise for stuff. He just, hey, these are my jokes, and they work really well. And as a result, you trust him. I think it's really important when you go and see a comic, if they look like they're confident and they don't really give a shit either way, if you laugh, you trust them, and as a result you end up laughing quite a lot. And I always laugh at Aaron, he's good. Demi is a pain in the ass. She's terrible. She can't write jokes, she can't tell them. She looks funny, and so I guess she trades off that.
I'm Demi Lardner, and I'm representing South Australia in the Comedy Zone this year. I grew up in Adelaide, in the northern suburbs, so don't fight me, because you'll die. Because I always keep a shiv on me. But there were a lot of tiny birds that I was afraid of in the... That's not a joke. Tiny birds freak me out. They're too quick. It's like, just, you know, hopping around, being all tiny, thinking they own the place, and they don't, let me tell you that. But yes, I could fight a man.
But I've seen Demi on the circuit for quite a while. She's performed in Melbourne, and she's from Adelaide, and she's just one of those performers that you just... It's one of those people that you see do comedy and go, yep, you'll be fine. You know exactly what you're doing.
You know when you're hanging out with friends? What's that like? When you're with like a group of friends and you know most of them, and there's one person that you don't know that well, so you're trying to get to know them, you're talking to them, and you offer them a chip from your chip packet, and they go to take the chip and they put their hand inside, and you just slowly clasp from the outside around their around their hand. Just wait for them to be okay with that. And then you're not alone anymore. I first considered becoming a comedian when I was maybe 10. I watched a lot of Leno and Woodley, and then I actually started doing it when I was 16, and as soon as I turned 16, I was like, I'm too old now. There's no way I can get into it. I should have been doing this years ago. And I'd almost given up right before I started.
At the moment, it seems like she's just not even getting close to resting on her laurels. She's trying new stuff all the time, and yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting to see someone that young, that talented. Makes you a little bit sick. Makes you do a little bit of vomit in your mouth because they're quite good. You go, oh crap, she's good.
What was my childhood like?
Magical.
I thought it was normal. Turns out it totally wasn't once I talked to people about it.
I was actually a pretty happy child.
Both my parents were prison guards, but they also never cared what I did, ever.
I was an only child, so I had to just hang out by myself.
I had headgear I had an underbite, so I had headgear that went like that on for probably 9 months, 10 months.
People tell me, oh, you should have father issues, which I don't. I had a pretty good dad.
I had a lot of friends in books.
Ups and downs, a bit of a roller coaster.
It made it really hard to rebel. I didn't know what I was doing. I was confused. It was a confusing childhood.
Nobody really made a comment on it, so it was a pretty normal life, I don't know.
But I had a great childhood, did a lot of things, a lot of friends, very popular.
No, it was very good. It was a very good childhood.
Probably one of the most popular kids.
In school, I did okay, but I was an insolent little smartass that and I knew it as well. I knew what I was doing.
I was fairly studious, I think. I wasn't really a class clown or anything.
I finished school last year. I was it was a metamorphosis. I was, went from like the best guy to just not very good at school, and then by year 12 I was like probably the third best guy.
I did like school. Like I remember complaining about it because everyone else did, but I quite liked it. I thought it was fun. I enjoyed school.
You can probably be best guy for 3 months max. But yeah, you want to be best guy.
I just tried hard on tests, I guess would be a good way of describing me at school. Yeah, and poor at sports. Yeah.
I used to work pretty hard, but I also did a bit of like theatre and stuff on the side. That was probably the first time I would have made people laugh and kind of caught the bug, if you like.
I thought my parents would be mad about me doing comedy because I dropped out of uni to come to Melbourne and do raw comedy, and they're like, yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's much better for you. It's suited. You weren't doing it. You don't. Why would you go to uni? Guys, come on. Give me something to work against. This isn't, oh, God.
I guess I first considered being a comedian when, I used to go watch a lot of comedy. That's how it started. I used to watch a lot of comedy, and then it just got to a point where I was in the audience trying to predict like what the punchline would be, and then I got to the point where I was in the audience and I was kind of just like, oh, I want to be able to do that. So it was just really jealousy more than anything else. That was the main driving factor.
My comedy career so far is a very loose term to acknowledge it as. It's been fun. I've liked it a lot, and also hated it every step of the way. But there you go. It's I've been doing it since I was 16, so I pretty much wrote off the first 3 years as rubbish, and I'm just getting into it now. So I'm starting comedy now. That's what I'm doing.
I did raw comedy in 2010. I got special mention. Then I finished my degree and I went to live in Japan for 2 years. So I did comedy for 2 years basically, stopped, went to Japan for 2 years, and I came back last July and have just been doing comedy since then.
Comedy in Brisbane is like quite difficult because everyone's just eating like their chicken schnitzel and they don't want a bar of it. Like they're just like, stop it. I'm at the pub. This is the last thing I want. But there were some really rough gigs where you performed to 2 guys who looked like they'd just gotten out of jail. I was regularly told I wasn't funny by someone with no teeth. So.
Raw was a really interesting experience. It's just like a whole day of stress and then for 5 minutes. But overall, good learning experience and fun. And yeah, it was good. Did a show with Becky Lucas called Where Dreams Begin for the Sydney Fringe, and it was okay.
Anyway, this girl had trust issues, and I felt uncomfortable. I didn't think there was much chemistry between us, but I'm a gentleman, so at the end of the night, I offered to drive her home. She refused. She insisted instead that she'd walk all the way home for 2 hours. That's when I realized, ladies and gentlemen, she didn't say she had trust issues. She said she had trusty shoes. Trusty shoes.
I wouldn't really call it a career so far. Probably most of the people that you speak to today will have a similar experience that it started out with raw comedy. That was the first time I got on stage, had all my friends there, it went really well. I think it's still probably one of the best gigs I've ever done in terms of response, and I've kind of been chasing that high. I feel it's a bit like an addiction, like I'm forever chasing that original high. And I'm really excited about this year because this is a huge opportunity, and it's the first time when I've kind of started to think, oh yeah, maybe I could do this as an actual proper full-time thing.
I was really excited, and when I got into Comedy Zone, and really thankful that I got the opportunity to do that, and just doing a month at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival is like really exciting and great.
So Gideon's kind of like the kingmaker, right? And I was in America and he messaged me just on Facebook and he was like, oh, are you going to be performing in Sydney anytime soon? And when I saw that, I immediately talked to people in Sydney and was like, can I get a spot? Because I want Gideon to see me.
I was really happy, actually. I was on a really bad day, I had a really bad day, and I was like, why am I even doing this? I'm stupid, I have a dumb life. And then I found out it was really, 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 really great. Because it's such an exciting opportunity and so many people want to do it, and I didn't think I would get the chance, so I'm very excited.
Oh, I was stoked, yeah. I was really happy because I know I have friends who've done it before. I really like their comedy, and they said it was just a really good way to do a lot of shows back to back and get sort of hardcore training in. And you come out a stronger comedian. So I was excited about that.
But basically, as soon as I got off the phone, I had to take my Ventolin out and just get some airflow back through. I'm not even asthmatic.
When I heard I got into Zone, it was just kind of awesome because I know that I know people who've done it, and it's a showcase thing with a bunch of really cool people, and I just feel like it's going to be a great gig. Basically. And it's a showcase, so if I screw it up, it doesn't matter. It's, everyone's there for you, I suppose.
If I could be a jungle animal, I would be a monkey, just because I was always fascinated with them as a kid.
Panther, because it was the first thing I thought of. Also, I like saying the word, it's good.
I like those little monkeys, maybe. Marmoset monkey, pretty good.
And I used to have my mum put a tail on my pants to be a monkey.
I think I'm thinking of a panther. I don't know. I don't really know what they are.
People love monkeys.
It's a bird.
If I could be a jungle animal, I'd probably be a tiger.
I'd be a lemur. Is that that's a jungle animal, right?
But that's just because of Chinese horoscope.
No.
Yeah, panther. Panther, definitely.
So, what's your horoscope? What jungle animal would you be? Tiger. Nice and easy.
Is the first thing that came to mind. First animal I know. I was talking to this girl the other day, and she was like, I really like dogs. So I'm like, I have a dog. And then she's like, oh yeah, you have a dog. You have a dog. Like that, like she didn't believe me. Like she was like, oh yeah, you have a dog. Like the you was really elongated. Like, can you hear it? Like, oh yeah, you have a dog. I get so mad when people like speak to me in that tone, like they disbelieve me. Like, do you know what I mean? Like when they don't believe you and like pretty much calling you a liar with their voice. Anyway, I was so mad that day that I went and bought my first dog. So I gave... I would describe my comedy as really groundbreaking and futuristic, but also historic and the present. To be futuristic, you need to be a bit like, just predict the future. And to be historic, you need to comment on the past. And to be in the present, you just need to, just be aware of your surroundings all the time. And you got great balance. It's the big triangle, the 3 pillars of comedy. Hopefully I'll be able to write a book about that.
I just talk about things I know. Like, I don't really make a lot of jokes. I think it's like quite autobiographical, I guess.
Like, I feel like I've become that friend. I'm like, yeah, I'll be the next Steve Jobs. And then I look into the blackened TV screen and I'm doing my TV face, you know this? And I realise I'm not Steve Jobs. Like, Steve Jobs wore turtlenecks and created the company Apple. And I just have no job, a neck, and I'm smoking weed out of an apple. So, not quite. But
I started out doing one-liners, and I think that started from raw comedy and from doing open mics. You only get 5 minutes, maybe 7 minutes tops, and I just knew I wanted to cram as much laughs as I could into that.
I recently discovered, it's becoming more and more expensive to maintain a relationship with a sex doll. I guess that's the cost of inflation.
My material's mostly from just like observing stuff while I'm walking around. It's a lot of wordplay, so I look at a lot of signs. I'm forever like looking at the signs, trying to see if there's any funny ways that I can misinterpret that or whatever.
Just hang around a lot of dumb people and wait for them to say something ignorant, and then I just, make fun of them.
And it's just a really awesome book. So there it is. It's called 4 Ingredients, over 340 quick, easy and delicious recipes using 4 or less ingredients. It should of course be 4 or fewer ingredients. Ingredients being a countable noun. Slight grammatical inaccuracy there. Doesn't matter. It's just the cover of the whole thing.
Sometimes I read newspapers to get an idea of what's going on, what's topical, but it's mostly just little things in life that I feel superior to and I can talk down to.
I come up with most material with stuff I see on the street, and I just like really exaggerate everything and make it into this weird like world that like stuff that could happen but would never happen. Yeah, but they'll probably happen in the future or have happened in the past.
Bleh, no, I don't know. Just stolen mainly. No, I will be talking to someone and not really listening to what they're saying, and then they'll say a word and I'll be like, joke, and put it in my phone, which is really rude. You shouldn't do that, but I do anyway.
I don't really like it when I know people in the audience I can be quite nervous if I know someone's there, because you don't want to be flailing around on stage.
The way I feel about a gig depends on like the weighting of the gig, and like a lot of the times if it's a big gig I'll be nervous, or if everyone's doing really well it'll be okay.
You know, like it's like quite a strange thing to be doing. It's not a regular career, I guess. So when there's someone there who you went to school with and they drive a Tarago or something. What's a normal car? Like they just drive like a good car. Tarago's a terrible car. You know, and they're like making money, and then they see you and you're like, hey guys, what about jizz?
I think I get quite nervous before gigs, but it's instantly gone when I get up there. And then, you know, I remember why I like to do it, but before big important gigs, I get quite nervous.
I deal with nerves by just walking around lots and talking to people about stuff that's not comedy, and yeah, not drugs.
I get a very dry mouth, even now, just knowing I have to speak. I get quite dry mouth, so I get a drink of water from the bar and drink that. And then I actually can't talk to people before I go on stage because I have a mouthful of water, and I keep it there, and then when they say my name I swallow and go on.
My preparation used to be that I would just throw up a lot by accident, and now it's just pacing and hating myself, and then being like, nah, you're fine, man, don't worry about it. You're gonna do this, it's gonna be great. And oh, Jesus, no, it's not. But it will, but no.
I just try to remember that nothing is real and that we're all gonna die. And that no one cares about you as much as you care about yourself. Everyone just cares about themselves, you know? So like, even if you do badly, they're like, oh, she sucked. And then they're like, oh, I hope I wasn't stupid to stew it, you know, I imagine.
I heard if you eat bananas, that helps as well, but I don't want to be hanging around with a banana just before I go on and say, oh, sorry. So, yeah.
Or just like eat a cake. Some kind of cake. Or spaghetti. Or spaghetti cake, lasagna.
Yeah, I like all the comedians, obviously, except Aaron.
I really like Demi Lardner, Becky Lucas, Geoffrey Windle. Yeah.
Yeah, we do all really complement each other. It's been really fun already just today, hanging out and sort of getting to know everyone a bit better, except Demi. Can't stick Demi.
I love them. I love them with all my heart. I think they're awesome, and I think it's a really great group of people. It's going to be a really cool show. I think it's going to be totally worth it.
There's just one. No more. No comment.
They're all really great, except Geoffrey. Hate that guy so much. I hope he's watching.
Demi's very nice. We like Demi. Becky is horrible, but apart from her, you know, I hate Becky Lucas.
Aaron's funny. I just don't like him.
Demi's a cool person. Just not Suren Jayemanne.
I think the comedy scene in Australia at the moment is pretty great. So many people doing awesome things for it. But I don't know, that's just because I'm in it right now. That could be what everybody thinks. Maybe the golden era has passed and I missed it. But I don't know, I think really good stuff's happening. I think it's positive.
The current comedy scene is really healthy at the moment. It's very focused on, just being super cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. I think Australians are learning more about comedy just through movies and America. Like America's got such a savvy comedy scene, and yeah, I think it's a lot more present than it's ever been, which is cool.
The quality at the moment is just amazing.
Yeah, comedians need to be cool to make an impact, like, because like you have like musicians are really cool, I find, but like comedians are like losers and stuff. You need cool comedians, and that's happening.
It's really good to see that everyone around you, there's a lot of talent there and there's a lot of creative stuff.
I was listening to someone the other day talk to his friend on the tram. I was eavesdropping, if you will, and he was talking about his phone, and he had an iPhone, and he was talking to his friend, and he was saying, "Man, iOS 7 can suck my dick." I thought, technology has come a long way. I think social media is changing comedy because it's so hard now to steal material, and that's really good.
I get the impression that a lot of comedians feel the pressure to go on Twitter a lot, and I don't think I've ever tweeted anything.
But also, social media is the devil.
Oh, I have 4 followers, wow. Gee, who are the other 3?
I think people like to think of a comedian as being funny all the time. There's a lot of old school comedians who, they just had their act and they weren't that funny off stage.
I use Twitter on and off, but I'm not using it properly because I just do 10 tweets in a row and then delete them all because nobody favorited them quick enough and I feel embarrassed.
You can definitely see that a lot of comedians are really actively pushing their Twitter accounts and even their Facebook pages, etc., as a means of getting people to know who they are and like building awareness.
I haven't been using that much social media lately, so...
I really like Twitter a lot. I don't like Facebook very much, but that's because my parents and my family ruin everything. Like whatever I post, I've got someone being like, "Great work!" space, exclamation point, love you, kiss, exclamation point, space, exclamation point. So, hi Mum.
Yeah, so I don't feel pressure myself, as you can tell, but I think there is a lot of pressure to continually produce content. And I don't know if that's, I find if I hear too much from a comedian, I get sort of, it wears off the magic.
Yeah, I like social media, it's pretty cool. It's pretty good. Down with social media. Sound like a mum? Yes, I do like it, yes.
I don't have a job, but I've been trying to put my time to good use. I've been going down to the local homeless shelter in Sydney and just trying to help out there at the soup kitchen, but I'm not actually serving soup. What I do is I go there and I teach the homeless people how to take pictures of their food and upload it to Facebook. Got to share every skill you have.
I think the biggest challenge is that it's full on and it's like the full run of the festival and we have to be out there flyering every day. Flyering is definitely, to me, the thing that I'm going to find the most challenging.
I'm surprised that it's a strategy that seems to work just not for me. So I've done it once and it was horrible. But hopefully this will be better. I think there are lots of comics around and people are here for the festival as well, so.
My approach to flying will hopefully be like, oh, can we just do it together? Like, can we try to bring people in by being funny together? Whereas I don't know, it's hard to kind of stand there and just say, come to my show, and people will expect you to be funny there and then on the spot.
This year's show will be actually really good.
I think audiences can expect to laugh at this year's show, and that is, you know, the basic expectation that one would bring to a comedy show as an audience member.
A lot of infighting, I think. Probably backstage might, you know, come out on stage at some point.
Belly laughs.
Well, there's some people with pretty good intellectual stuff, there's some dick jokes.
There's a lot of talk about someone is gonna give birth on stage, but I don't know if it happened or not.
Also, a lot of jokes about having Japanese girlfriends. 3 of us have jokes of that, so I think I'm just gonna go get a Japanese girlfriend and then write some jokes about her. Hopefully she's hilarious.
Do you have to be pregnant to give birth?
This year's show has got a lot of, I think it's quite diverse in the different styles.
I think this year's Comedy Zone is going to be obviously the best one ever, but also I think it's going to be super solid with all sort of facetiousness aside. I think it's actually I think they all complement each other. I think there's a good mix of styles. I think it'll be really held together really well by Geoffrey as MC. And I feel like they've done well in casting this year. I don't think anyone is too weird, and I don't think anybody is too shit. They're all actually really great, which is handy. Sometimes someone can be like the weakest link, and you want to vote them off at the end of the show and take them out the back and kind of hit them with a bamboo torch until they have to leave the island. But in this case, everybody's pretty awesome. So I think audiences can expect a good show.
So let's put our hands together one last time for everyone you've seen tonight. Suren Jayemanne, Becky Lucas, Aaron Chen, Demi Lardner.
Please give a big round of applause for your host, Geoffrey Windle.
Come to the big show.